unveils drown us out here. Good morning, everybody. I'm Victor Wan. I'm honored to serve as the president of the Philadelphia Zoo. I want to thank you very much for joining us on this exciting day as we unveil a very unconventional new art exhibit called Second Nature, Junk Rethunk. This larger-than-life array of artist installations includes a magnificent 13-foot-tall blue gorilla that you passed on your way in, made entirely of recycled car door parts, as well as this abstract sculpture above me made from over 3,000 plastic bottles. All of these installations tell an important story of endangered animals through the use of recycled, reused, repurposed, and renewed materials. In essence, they've all been made of stuff that's been very thoughtfully rethunked. Second Nature brings to life our zoo's mission of connecting people with wildlife to create joyful discovery and inspire action for animals and their habitats. And I want to take a moment to thank all of you for your commitment to wildlife and to the Philadelphia Zoo. I also want to thank our board of directors whose guidance has enabled the zoo to successfully embark on a path of unprecedented transformation, enabling us to serve as a model of excellence and innovation for other zoos across the world. Joining us today is the chairman of our board, Jerry Calvert, and several other members of our board, including Ellen Wolf. And it's their time, their vision, and their philanthropy that has been a driving force for our institution. We're very, very excited, as I think you can tell, to present this exhibit that's been curated specifically for the Philadelphia Zoo through October 31st. Second Nature unleashes the creative imagination of 12 artists from across the globe, artists who have expertly crafted animal-inspired sculptures from unlikely items that have been reimagined and given new life. Recycled plastic bottles, cardboard boxes, wads of chewing gum, and even old spark plugs, items that have been reimagined, given new life that will surely intrigue and delight zoo guests. But more importantly, these items have been reimagined and given new life that will engage people, young and young at heart alike, in the things that we can each do to make the world a different place and a better place for wildlife and for animals. From two giant 9-foot-tall pink rabbits that you also saw coming in, fashioned from recycled plastic, to an evocative shadow sculpture composed of casting a beam of light on a pile of discarded electronics. Each of these installations will forge a connection between human behavior and animal endangerment through amazing and sometimes whimsical works of art. Reducing, reusing, and recycling are not necessarily new to us humans, but hopefully we can help and now be inspired for it to become second nature for all of us. We're thrilled and delighted to have found and united these individuals and groups from across the world, to have brought them together as a global community of artists to present thought-provoking interpretations of species that future generations of zoo guests may never see if we don't take the steps to preserve their future. Second Nature features the work of some of the world's most creative conservation heroes, and some of them are here with us today, including Leo Sewell, our very own hometown star living right here in Philadelphia. We welcome PK, Peter Kimmelman, from the Flux Foundation, situated in San Francisco. PK, you want to raise your hand? There he is, all the way at the back. Didn't see Leo coming in. Laurent Vallier, here from Montreal, to build her work right at the zoo for guests to see. And Diet Weekman, who traveled from the Netherlands to be with us here today. I'd also like to thank our friends at Amazon for their generous contributions of the materials that we've used for the artworks in Tico. Thank you. Second Nature, Junk Rethunk is the way that we share this message and inspire our many guests. The same can be said actually for our own zoo colleagues and volunteers, reducing, reusing, recycling, and rethinking how we also manage and care for the planet's resources that have been entrusted to us right here in Philadelphia. This past November 18th, we closed the zoo down for a full day, and we did some rethinking and reducing of our own big campus cleanup. It was a massive effort where the entire zoo community got together and we disposed of 53 tons of accumulation, 40 tons of which we recycled. We took that important step and look forward to continuing and sharing our recycling programs with all of you. The Big Campus Cleanup was more than a weight loss program, as you can tell. For the zoo, it was actually a tangible demonstration of our commitment to the environment, to our planet, and to this wonderful place at 34th and Girard that we call home. So thank you for joining us today and making a difference for wildlife and for wild habitats. And now I'd like to introduce Secretary Cindy Adams-Dunn. She's a true hero in the work of preserving our Commonwealth's precious resources, providing opportunities to connect with nature, respect the natural resources of our state, preserving it for our children and grandchildren and those that will follow us in this important work. The mission of DCNR is to conserve and sustain Pennsylvania's natural resources for future and present generations, and we are so honored to welcome the Secretary of the Commonwealth's Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, Cindy Adams-Dunn. Secretary Dunn.
Thank you, President DeWine. I'm delighted to be here. I feel the Philadelphia Zoo is a critical element in really opening people's eyes to nature and making the connections that will help preserve our planet and also Pennsylvania. And your work is critical to Pennsylvania and well beyond. Diminished natural resources are a worldwide problem, but also a problem here in Pennsylvania. From our endangered and threatened species, like the Indiana bat or the great egret, to our common, iconic Pennsylvania species, our state tree, the Pennsylvania hemlock, eastern hemlock, our state fish, the brook trout, our state flower, the mountain laurel, our state bird, the ruffed grouse, all face challenges in today's environment. And while they're still common, issues like climate change, invasive species, pests driven by climate change, development pressures, quarrying, and etc., are part of the threats to Pennsylvania's ecology. Junk Rethunk is a great way of having people think about our natural resources. So not only is the reuse of junk do the obvious thing and help with litter, but it prevents the need for future additional quarries, it prevents the need for additional landfill space. It does so many things for the environment, and by taking that first step, youth and adults open their eyes to their relationship with nature. So I think it's a critical program, a great addition to your program here. So in Pennsylvania, in our natural world, we have a number of things that we think both DCNR and the Philadelphia Zoo have in common. I think we can really work together to really open people's eyes. With 1.3 million visitors per year, the Philadelphia Zoo can make an impact at scale. The influence that you have in Pennsylvania and beyond is really critical. And in the state park system in Pennsylvania alone, we draw 38 million visitors. So I think that by looking at our messaging and looking at our goals together we reach a lot of people and reach critical mass to make a difference. Both of our messages do some of the same things. I'll identify some of the things that we do together. Both share sustainability and conservation messages across the system to all our visitors. Visitors to both resources may observe practices that open their eyes and open their minds. I mean, Junk Rethunk and energy conservation here, and our state parks, our new buildings are all LEED certified, and we're trying to demonstrate green practices across our system and interpret them for the visitors to understand and maybe take some of these ideas home. Some of the ideas about wildlife and habitat, planting native species, eradicating invasive species. We both open people's eyes to nature and create curiosity and wonder. And that is really, in some ways, the most important thing. When people visit a place like the Philadelphia Zoo or one of DCNR's parks, and they have an oh wow moment. You know, a child may connect with the African hornbill, or may connect with the white-tailed deer in a park, or may connect with the fish that they catch. That may open their eyes and really create a lifetime of exploration and wonder that will change their practice and change their relationship to nature. And create an interest in protecting critical habitats. Critical habitats here in Pennsylvania and critical habitats around the world. Understanding that link between wildlife and habitat is something that happens here at the zoo and happens in Pennsylvania state parks and forests. I think especially today, it's critical that we provide this connection to nature for children. that we get children out of the rut of being in front of a screen for 7 hours a day and out exploring nature. And the zoo has done some very creative things at engaging youth, even using the device that they carry, engaging youth in learning about nature. So you do a phenomenal job here. I'm very pleased and proud to be part of it and be invited to be here today to help celebrate this moment with you. And now I'd like to introduce my good friend, Mike DeVerdinis. Mike is the Deputy Mayor of Environment and Community Resources in Philadelphia. And before that, he was a Commissioner of the Department of Parks and Recreation. And before that, he was my boss. He was Secretary of the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. He's been the driving force for Green 2015 here in Philly, and when he was Secretary of DCNR, he launched the Conservation Landscape Initiative, which really helped us see Pennsylvania's landscape as much bigger than little individual townships and towns and parks, etc. He launched the I Conserve program, which was designed directly to connect and teach, and connect people with our mission and keep an ongoing relationship. He really did a number of things to open up our parks and our forests to people and to help connect communities to nature and communities to their local parks. And so with that, I'd like to introduce my good friend, Deputy Mayor Mike DeVerdinis.
Good morning, everybody. It's really wonderful to be here, and I want to thank Vic and everyone here at the Zoo for inviting me out here today to be part of this. And Cindy, thank you for that gracious introduction, generous introduction. My wife and I have 4 children, and the zoo was part of our almost weekly activities with the kids, and this is about 30 years ago. We came here because we could afford it, which is really interesting. At that time, we could afford it, but it really offered us a way to get in an urban environment. We live along the river wards, row houses, a little competition here. In a row house community in Fishtown and Kensington, and this was a great place for us to visit on a Saturday or Sunday and get our kids outside and begin to connect them to nature. We now have 2 grandchildren, and we are more frequent visitors here, if that's possible. And we often see Vic and Jerry and some of the board members and a lot of the staff here on the weekends when we come by. So the zoo is a continuing place, has a continuing place in our hearts, and we have a great deal of affection for this wonderful institution. I want to congratulate Vic and Jerry and all the staff and the board here for this idea of connecting art and nature, art and conservation. It's a very clever idea, and we need clever ideas because we need to elevate the value and the idea of conservation. Because the world, not just Philadelphia, not just urban areas, not just Pennsylvania, but the world is at a critical point. If we don't get our hands around conservation, if we don't get our hands around climate change, if we don't build a constituency for conservation, if we don't build a constituency around sustainability, if we can't present the economic values of this kind of work, of conservation, this planet will be in big trouble. And the things that the very ecosystems that Cindy talked about in her remarks will not be in danger. They will in fact disappear over time. So this is about ensuring for future generations, even though it's a zoo in one of many cities in America with a lot, but not 1.3 million visitors. Every institution has a role. Every institution has a place in conservation, and the importance of connecting individual citizens, and particularly young people, to this idea of nature, art, and conservation, and exciting them, and tapping that natural spirit, that connection to nature that's in all of us, and turning that into action. Action, right here, we're looking at the action, is an important piece of the work of this organization. The zoo does it every day with how the way it educates, informs, and excites its visitors. So once again, we have Zoo 360, which is a wonderful way of connecting people to wildlife. Once again, the zoo gets in front of this conservation drive, this conservation ethic, and turns it into an exciting, family-friendly visitor experience. So I'm happy to be part of this. The zoo is in Fairmount Park. It is one of our most wonderful institutional tenants, and it's just another step, I think, in situating the zoo as one of the most important public institutions in the city of Philadelphia. I'm happy to be here to celebrate this day with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Bernardinis. I don't exactly speak rhinoceros hornbill, but Bob and Nancy, I think we're completely agreeing with you there, and so thank you very much. We salute and we honor your vision and your commitment to our region and to your selfless and absolutely distinguished record of public service. Thank you. And now I'd like to invite you and Secretary Dunn and our board chair Jerry to join me in the opening of this extraordinary new exhibit, Second Nature. We're going to head over in this direction here to do that.
Pick that up. Huh? Well, you have your orange.
I'll get the secretary over here.
Okay, so I'm going to need everybody's help for this. On the count of 3, I need everybody to say recycle. Now, not yell, but say recycle. Ready? On the count of 3.
This way?
You're not. Sorry, so we're going to pull it this way. Yep, ready? So everybody help me count. 1, 2, 3. Recycle!